Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, very passionate about Stoke City. It's very close to my heart. One day we'll win the Premiership, but moving on. I'm here to talk about a changing culture, what we've tried to implement at WJ within the workforce. What we wanted to do is get the buy-in from the workforce so we could improve things and innovate processes. We have different depots throughout the UK. We also have a company in Belgium which manufactures projects. So we have a very close connection to the European colleagues. Safety process. We developed an innovative process which has been produced excellent results for us. And like I said before, it engages with our staff, it engages with our stakeholders, and we gain a lot from their experience. So the things that we look at and the things that we work to develop in are PPE, work equipment, materials, vehicles, safe methods of working. That's by evaluating risk assessments, by going out on site and looking at the way processes are conducted. Attitudes and behaviour. It's about buying the attitude of the individual. It's about buying the attitude of the people and getting them involved in the process, the company, and feeling part of it. What I'm going to do is work through the process that we work to, and I'll do an example for road studs. In the UK, we install a lot more road studs than we do in Europe. But what I've done is we've developed a piece of equipment called the Guardian, and I'll go through the process of how we developed it. So work equipment. Nobody's more qualified, as I've just been saying about the people who are doing the job. If you can listen to them, show them that they're important, and create that feedback and that partnership with them between the management team of a business and the individual, you get the best out of it. We engage with the workforce, we address their behaviours, we say how do we do the job better, how can we improve? We act on their ideas. By acting on their ideas, we're giving them feedback. If they talk to us about how they think the process could be made safer, more efficient, we need to talk to them, get that information. When we've got that together, tell them what we've done about it. If we can't do anything about it, we'll tell them. If we've got good ideas and we engage with them, we take these ideas on board, we will then feed that back to them. Well done, you've really had a good input there. Innovate, ensure fairness and inclusion and respect throughout our employees, and drive the initiative. A good media for communication, that's what I'll go into now. This was a safety system. It's a simple system. We're not too complex with it. It's all about a conveyor belt. You start at the bottom, and you make your way up. And I'll go into the ingredients that make the final product. So firstly, the ideas. We gain ideas from things like health and safety meetings, environmental meetings, client and stakeholder feedback, what we call VFLs. That's where the management team go out onto site and they spend time with crews and they spend time with the guys and ladies on the road, and they get that information together, and risk assessment and method statements. But the problem we had is when we first introduced it, we needed to find out what was the best way and how to get more out of it. Rather than it being a formal process, we needed to look at why people wouldn't come forward, why people wouldn't stand up and discuss things. So we looked at the phobias in the UK. Number 7 on the list was thunder and lightning. Top 7 was thunder and lightning, sorry. Next one was dogs. Number 6 was most people in the UK have got a phobia about dogs. Crowded areas. In the UK, we don't like crowded areas. Heights and snakes. Does anybody know what number 1 is? Number 1 is sociophobia. Standing at the front, standing out from the crowd, standing up here rather than sitting down there. I've got sociophobia. No, standing out from the crowd. So, it takes courage and to engage. And that's what we're saying with these people when we're talking to them out on the road, our employees. It takes courage to be in a group of people working and say, how can we do that better? How can we progress? I want to change something. And that's what we bought into at WJ. It's taken probably 3 to 5 years to introduce this, but now people are feeling that they can come forward and put these ideas forward, which makes our equipment and our processes better. So we also introduced the SOS system. The SOS system was a simple system to capture information. It gave the operatives and people out there the opportunity to write their ideas down, to publicise it, tell us what they thought could be improved and how it could be improved. It was a paperwork system originally. So what we did is we developed it into SOS at WJ UK. Everyone's got a mobile phone. Everybody can take photographs. We had live information streaming in through the network and through emails, so we can sit in the office and see this stuff coming in as it happens. We can also act on it and use it for benefits and actual evidence to develop things. So then we've got the SOS system. We evaluate the ideas. So what I've done here, I've talked about how we looked at road studs and installation. And what we did is we evaluated and reviewed the significant risks with road stud installation. We thought, how can we make it better? How can we make it safer? As you can see from that photograph, you've got people standing in the road. The road's on what we call a stop-go, so the traffic will still be passing there under traffic control, but these people are still having to stand on the centre line. So the project focused on these 5 areas: centreline working, which I've just discussed, reducing the requirement to vehicles to cross the centreline. If we can keep the vehicle away from the centreline, then we're not making it very tight when other vehicles are crossing. We're not restricting the crossing area when they're passing our workers. Reducing the operative's exposure to debris. When we're doing milling operations, we're using a milling head, which cuts through the road surface to create the cavity. This can fire out stones, dust, particles. How can we reduce that? Minimising the exposure to handling hot materials. When the casting's cut out in the centre of a road, we pour bitumen in there, which is possibly about 180 degrees before we put the casting in. People having to still handle that. And reducing the exposure to live vehicles. That's the main thing. That's why we're here today. We're thinking about the safety of the individuals and the exposure that they have. So there's a photograph of the processes that I've just discussed. The first one in the left there, that's standing in the middle of the road. That's basically applying the hot material into the cavity. This is drilling out here, and this is a vacuum system we use to remove the particles and the spoils from the process itself. I'll show you a very quick video of it being done, so it gives you more of a concept of the process. Milling out the hole there, there's your debris, and then hoovering it up. Again, vehicles could be passing along this side here. Putting the pitch in, and then installing the road stud. Very simple process. It's time exposure on it, exposure to the road, hot materials, dust. So we go back to the safety system. We look at the management review. We look at the benefits. What can we benefit? The things I've highlighted, I think, if we can benefit by improving any of those things, we'll be getting a real good product at the end of it, a final improvement in the road, the way we operate. So we develop it. What we use is we've got at Elland, which is in Yorkshire in England, we've got a development team there. Some of them are over there. They won't come and stand up over here because of sociophobia, but they're sitting over there smiling to themselves. The team here, they developed the Guardian system, which is an automated system to install road studs, which I'll go into further. We use CAD systems to develop it, so we're not manufacturing products, we're not creating waste or spoil or wasting time. We're using the computer-aided systems to evaluate what the capacity of the equipment is. And we use the workforce for the improvements. They're the driving point behind all of this. So that's an example of one of the designs we put in with a sitting area, which is taking people off the road. That's another example of the drilling head. Well, this is the head, the extending drilling head. What we had to look at there is we wanted the vehicle to be sitting at one side of the road and then be able to extend out to work on the centre line, like so. The problem we have there, the downforce and the pressures used to drill that hole was causing the whole unit to lift up. So we had to, we had to put extra supports into that to support it. And then we'd go on to field trials. What then we do is we send the vehicle and the equipment out onto the field. We trial it. We have a prototype vehicle, and we had feedback from the individuals who are doing the tasks. So they can see, and we can get feedback on is it working or not. If it works, great. If it doesn't, then we have to feedback and we have to put it through the process again. The trialing process there is that was the outcome of feedback and the machine that we developed taking people off the road. Show you how these things have developed now. Firstly, we've got the working on the road, which I showed you the photograph before. How we do it now. This is how we're going to be doing it in the future. This is a prototype vehicle. We've built one and we're building another 2 at the moment, where it takes people off the road. That guy sitting in that vehicle can do all the jobs that we were taking 3 men to do, 3 men exposed on the road network, and obviously handling hot materials. We looked at the drilling process. Got the milling head there, you've got the hoovering of it. On this process here, you've got the drilling head, which is automatically controlled, and behind it you've got a hoover which sucks away any dust, and then the vehicle will pull forward and suck and clear all the spoils. Hot material, massive problem, between 180 220 degrees. Any spillage, you're carrying jugs of this around, so we needed to minimise and reduce the risk there. What we did there, we created a lance. So the lance there has got a pumping system that pumps the hot bitumen, and he basically sits there and drops it into the hole so he can prepare and put the stud into place. When we developed the milling head, we thought, actually, we're taking a time longer to cut out the hole for the cavity for the road stud. And if we could reduce the time there, we could improve the process and we could reduce the exposure. So we actually changed it for actually a drill. A drill bit would go in there instead of cutting out a large area. It's less road damage, it's less dust, it's less impact on the road surface, and there's less spoils. What this then led to, again through the SOS process, was the development of the Alux stud. We developed the Alux stud over the last 2 years, and that basically can be put into that cavity the hole that's drilled, without cutting out a large cavity. So it can be very easily removed if it damages, if it wears, removed without damage to the road surface. And the time element is massive. There's a huge saving on the time of it. That's the Guardian machine as it was running there. And I'll just show you a video of the Guardian machine that we're working on and the prototype, how it is developing. So a workforce-driven safety culture is what we've worked and we're proceeding with. We use the SOS system, which I've discussed with you. Health surveillance of the workers. We look at their mental health, their physical health. We have regular surveys that we do with them and work with them. We have health and safety competency training. So when people change jobs or skills, then we train them in a way that we make sure that they're safe and they're doing it the most efficient way. Management site audits. We involve the management team in the site audits, looking at health, safety, environmental matters. They get their high vis on, they go out there and they interact with the crews. Accident investigations, regular depot meetings where we have feedback, Williams conveyor process, and worker involvement and ownership of health and safety is key for WJ. I've worked for WJ for 14 years now, and it has improved massively due to the management commitment and the support that I've received to help develop things and try new ideas. That's my statement at the end. By acting on innovative ideas from our workforce and supply chain partners, we can work safer, and I truly believe in that. Thank you very much for your time and help.